And let's now shift our focus to cricket and on a question that's been animating the entire cricketing world for the past few weeks. Is Jasprit Bumrah perhaps the finest fast bowler that India has ever produced? Well, Bumrah's ascent to the pinnacle of Test cricket this week has obviously sparked that animation. He's become the best, the #1 fast bowler on the planet in Test cricket. It's a testament, of course, to his extraordinary prowess in the field, the fact that he's the only bowler to have ever achieved the #1 ranking across all three formats. It just tells you about the rare talent that we are witnessing. But his achievements are not just numbers on a board. They tell a story of resilience, of skill, of unparalleled dedication to his craft. His test bowling average, second only to the legendary Sid Barnes for bowlers with at least 150 wickets. Now that speaks volumes about his ability. The question, of course, is that he does face injuries. Perhaps because of that action, he faces injuries that would sideline many. But despite that, Bumrah's dominance across all formats remains unmatched. And he's just led India to a spectacular victory, a match which they may have lost if Bumrah wasn't there. And that's really continuing to get a lot of people chattering. Now look, let's not really get into the best bowler ever produced in India. There are lots of really great candidates, not least Kapil Dev, and there are lots of great fast bowlers who've been out there, Zaheer Khan, many others. But it's interesting. India loves its cricket and has been a nation that really reveres its batting legends, be it Gavaskar or Tendulkar or even Kohli. But for long we've really yearned and really longed for a pace bowling hero who's considered to be the best in the world. Kapil Dev was a hero, of course, best in the world, perhaps not even at its heyday. Now enter Jasprit Bumrah, a beacon of fast bowling across the world that breaks the mold and certainly inspires a generation. And that extends from his bowling action to his calm demeanor on the field. And for more on that, we're now being joined by Pradeep Magazine, one of the top cricketing journalists and one of the top experts we have in India, not just on cricket, but all other sports, of course, as well. Pradeep, thank you so much for joining us. Just wanted to get a sense of the way the Indian team is looking right now. But I just want to start by Bumrah. You must have been seeing this debate that is he perhaps the best fast bowler that India has ever produced?
Well, I think, yes, given the way he's performing and I think Jasprit, not just the best fast bowler India has produced. At the moment, I think he should be among the best the world has produced. You know, it's his unusual action. Despite that, his control over his pace, his accuracy, his movement. Above all, I think, that cricketing sense. Mm-hmm. Where to bowl, when to bowl, what to bowl, and he never seems to lose control. It's amazing. I mean, our world hasn't seen this kind of a bowler in many years, I would say.
But Pradeep, there's a side risk there, of course, which you keep worrying about when it comes to Bumrah, is that his particular action, whatever that does for his craft and for his control and the rest of it is fine, but it does seem to keep leaving open the possibilities of injuries. That back injury he had, which almost seemed career-threatening at some point, which means you go on worrying about workload, and is there a risk that Bumrah could possibly break down and have another serious injury?
Well, Vikram, yes, you are right in that. You see, he had to miss almost a year of international cricket because of injuries. And a lot of people have repeated it again and again, that given the unusual way he bowls, I mean, he has a very short run-up, his elbow gets so much extended, his whippy wrist action, he puts so much of effort in it that he, yes, looks liable to get injured, but let's enjoy as long as he's bowling so well. I mean, many times you feel it's a miracle the way his action is and the way he controls his bowling, his speeds, the way he varies them. So yes, there will always remain a concern, but touch wood, he's at the peak of his form at the moment, and I'm sure everyone knows that, everyone has seen it, that if he had not been there, we might have been 2-0 down in this series.
So, Pradeep, would it be fair to say that that entire debate of Bumrah's role place in cricket history may also end up getting affected by how many matches he actually ends up playing, right? What are the final wickets he gets at? Look at Jimmy Anderson, whom we are seeing right now. Look at how long he's been playing for. Kapil Dev, of course, an absolute legend. Look at the number of wickets he actually got. Now, in Bumrah's case, his place will be, of course, what he did to get to 150, 200, maybe even 300 wickets is there, but will he have the longevity to really take it to get those all-time records because of the injury factor?
Well, you see, when you see the longevity of fast bowlers, the first thing you will realize, bowlers who have lasted that long, who have crossed 300, 400, 500 test victims, they have had actions which are very smooth. There is a rhythm to it. You know, although they put in a lot of effort, but the way they run towards the crease and the way their bowling action is, that cartwheel action, as they say, of fast bowlers, there is a rhythm to it. There is an effortlessness to it, which probably makes them less and less injury prone. In Bumrah's case, yes, you know that it would be difficult for him to cross those magical high wicket-taking marks. But I would say that if he lasts another couple of years even, or 2 to 3 more years, he should cross 300 wickets. But above all, it's the average at which he takes his wickets, which probably would be as good, or if not the best, in comparison to other pace bowlers.
Now, the entire question of whether Bumrah should be given more rest, of course, does depend on the rest of the fast bowling, lineup that we actually have. Now, it's strange. A year ago, people were actually saying that, look, India can field 2 or 3 world-class teams potentially and lots of fast bowlers to choose from. It's still true, but if Shami is not there and Siraj is not there also, then how do you give Bumrah a rest? I mean, Mukesh Kumar and others on the team, I'm not sure whether they're going to really be able to fill a Bumrah's boots, as it were. So, is the cupboard suddenly starting to look a little bare when it comes to fast bowlers more than it was a year and a half ago?
Well, just suddenly you didn't have Shami and you didn't have Siraj, and you suddenly realized that maybe India doesn't have that kind of a bench strength in fast bowling, which we probably envisaged a year back. We thought that we have such pool of great fast bowlers, and India has never seen such bunch together, and we will dominate Test cricket. And suddenly, this England team has shown us very vulnerable. I mean, you leave out Bumrah. I was saying earlier, you take out Bumrah from this team, and you wonder if he would have won the second Test even. This attacking English side has suddenly opened up possibilities of so much vulnerabilities in this Indian team that you suddenly started reassessing the strengths of this team.
So, Pradeep, the problem is perhaps even more so when it comes to batting. When you look at the batting lineup, I mean, you have a couple of injuries and suddenly you're starting to struggle a little bit. Shreyas Iyer, I don't know how many chances he's got, how many chances he's going to keep on getting. Shubman Gill, okay, scored a century. But when you look beyond that, the cupboard, especially in Test cricket, is starting to look a little bare. You need to find people and bring them in and groom them for Test cricket, because at some point, Kohli could retire and Rohit Sharma could retire, and then what do you do?
Well, I think what probably is happening is that we have to. We thought that this India is a very strong one-day side. We couldn't win the World Cup. We lost in the final, but the way India dominated that World Cup till the final was incredible. And many people thought that was one of the best one-day sides world cricket has seen, as even India has seen. But in Test cricket, I think suddenly you see maybe the impact of T20 cricket is visible, that these batsmen are not have enough concentration of skills to last long, to play longer innings. They are good at 40s, 50s, 80s, scoring at a great pace. But they are not good at when conditions are difficult, not in their favor, and they have to stay at the wicket. And you suddenly feel that maybe we are seeing the impact of T20 cricket on Indian batting in Test cricket, because I have not seen such vulnerable Indian batting in years. that also makes you realize how Virat Kohli is such an important cog in this Indian batting wheel, because he comes at number 4, and when situation is not very favorable, but the assurance with which he bats, the way he anchors the innings. So him suddenly missing, you suddenly feel a very, very vulnerable look to Indian batting, which should worry all those who feel that Test cricket should survive, because India doing well in Test cricket is very important for survival of Test cricket.
Pradeep, to be fair, the problems with the top of the order in the batting have been there for a while. I mean, even if you look at some of those miraculous performances in Test cricket that India has had, look at Gaba, look at Brisbane, what happened out there at those Australian series, some of the high points of Test cricket. But it wasn't actually the top order that delivered. It was Rishabh Pant, some of the lower batting orders, 5, 6, 7. Those were the batsmen who were winning India matches. So that's perhaps something else we need to think about. There is some weakness there in the top order that need to be shored up fast.
Yeah, there is, because you're right. When you look back at those Test victories, even you realize that India were in trouble, even in batting troubles. It's the late order, like somebody like Rishabh Pant or Washington Sundar there, or so these were the guys who made us recover and fight back and even win a test match which we thought we had lost. So yes, that vulnerability has been there. And suddenly this England team, I mean, it has come to India. I have not seen, none of us have seen an outside team coming to India and playing. And in fact, making our spinners look ordinary, the way they're attacking them and exposing even them. Yes, these are worrying factors, but the good part is that we are having a fascinating series. At least it's not a dominant one side, which is like scoring huge runs and then dismissing the rival teams for good for nothing score. So these next 3 Test matches, we're all looking forward to it and see how they pan out.
All right, Pradeep Magazine, thank you so much for joining us. Always lovely talking to you.